set on the record thing. So today we have Ramya Kumar here, a YA and an SSC4 teacher from Region 8, right? No.
9.
Region 9, yes, Region 9. And she is going to be, she was the lead person who did the Group 4 Tricky Technology. And in fact, it was a very entertaining session in which Swami was the CEO. So Ramya is going to be sharing the thought process that led her to kind of develop that particular workshop and the students, the children's reactions to it. And she's going to kind of walk us through the entire process. Welcome, Ramya.
Thank you, Auntie. Salam, everyone. Like Auntie said, I'm Ramya. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I also have with me Shreyas Iyer, who's my husband. He's also a Group 4 teacher. He was one of the breakout room facilitators when we did it, so he's been voluntold to help us today. And I see Geeta's name, and if I'm thinking about the same Geeta, it might be the same Geeta that was also one of our facilitators. So if it is the same person, we'd love to also hear anything that you have to share, Geeta, as we, okay, I see a thumbs up, so it is the same person. So let me share my screen first. Oh, Auntie, I need access to share screen.
Yeah, let me just make you a co-host. There you go.
So I'm actually just going to share my whole screen because I have a couple of. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So the Group 4 Tricky Tech workshop that we did, this was our theme, going behind the scenes, the heart and the brain of technology. So the overarching theme for all of the technology workshops was, really how do we promote a balanced use of technology? We know that our students are having to use it. It's inevitable, especially right now with online school. It is completely, I think, impossible for us to think that we can tell them stop using it. So how do we give them, some kind of checks and balances to do this in a balanced way and in a way that really supports the human values as well. So that was kind of our thought process. So as we were coming up with this, and I had 3 other people helping, with this, we were really thinking about, also how do we balance that our students, again, depending on the age range, our students, many of them are actually going to be graduating soon, going into college, maybe tech jobs, things like that. And how do we really find the heart behind things and kind of go behind the scenes and see, what is an impact we can make, not just now, but even kind of long term? What are some seeds that we can plant now, as these are students that are going to be entering the workforce as well, which is very technology driven. So that was kind of our background behind that. We also know that with this age group, there's a huge, all age group, but especially that there's a huge emphasis on, what we were calling cultivating spiritual seekers versus children of spiritual seekers. So this is the transition of those students really becoming independent in their spiritual journey. And so how do they continue to make that connection with Swami, feel his presence all the time, even in things like technology and actions that they're doing. So those were just some of our guiding principles that we talked about as a content development team. So this was kind of our agenda that we led our students through. So we had started in the main room, which is kind of what we'll do today, did a couple of things, and we went into smaller breakout rooms, and you'll get a little bit of a simulation of that also. And then we came back for some discussion. So to start out in true, I feel like retreat style lately, we did do a Kahoot. And I would love to lead all of you through that as well. So if you have your phones and you would like to participate, this is the link. So if you go to www.kahoot.it, or if you have the app, that's fine too. And this is the code, and I'm just going to switch screens to pull that up. We'll just wait for some people to join before we start the game.
So what's the pin? Sorry, I didn't get that.
2268957.
268.
I think we have about 8. I think there's about 12 of us, right, on the call total?
Yeah, including you, 14.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start the game. If you haven't already joined or you're joining, you know, it'll catch up to you. Okay. So the first question that we have for all of you is, you know, you have 4 choices. So if this is what you're seeing, this is a fact. So 600,000 Facebook accounts are compromised every single day. So what is your reaction when you see this fact? Some of you might be aware, some may not know it's happening. So kind of see what answers we get.
So what does each color mean?
So each
Sorry.
color matches with the answer on the screen. So on your phone, if you saw a red triangle, that matches with the first answer.
Okay.
I'm unable to see the answer. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the tricky part about Kahoot is that it a little confusing because you have to answer on your phone, but then the questions from the screen.
Yeah, so I had to flip
yeah.
between the two. I lost my time.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought yellow was warning, so I put the yellow.
And that's okay. That's okay. You think it won't happen to you.
Thinking of green.
Do we still have time to answer? It says time's up.
Yeah, it might be time's up. Yeah, so because I think there was about 7 or 8 of you on it.
Yeah,
so,
that one I didn't answer.
Yeah, that's
answer,
fine.
we can answer now, and we can consolidate. We already have the numbers here. For those who haven't answered, let us know what your answers are, and we'll consolidate.
Yeah, and that's fine. So, but anyway, so this was something that we did, you know, do with them. We didn't really discuss each thing individually because we wanted to just create this more as an awareness piece and kind of a intro versus spending a ton of time on this, but to just start them getting to think about, you know, this is actually a reality. So I think that if I remember correctly, our data when the students did it, we had a pretty good balance of, you know, wow, I didn't know it's at, so the red and the green, oh, this is interesting. You know, I didn't know it was that high. There were a couple of like, well, it happens, but it's fine because I'm still going to enjoy social media and move on. But for the most part, the answers were between, I did not know the risk is so high, and this is definitely something I should be wondering about because like, what else am I actually risking? So our next question is actually, it's actually a video. So I'm going to play a video. And as you watch the video, you'll have an opportunity to type on in your phone one word that is coming up for you as you watch it. So I might have to share my audio. Sorry, it's like running out of time. This is always tricky. There we go. Share computer sound. Okay, now I'm going to play this video.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
So having watched that video, let's go back to the Kahoot. I'm curious to see what words have come up for people. So you can put that in your phone. You have 30 seconds to do that.
And we should answer only in one word or one sentence.
Well, I mean, one word is what the directions are, but either way is fine. Whatever you can fit in 13 seconds. I see some words coming up. So lots of interesting words. Pause before you, not sure what T you
Type. It was supposed
Oh,
to
type. Okay. Pause before you type. Uncertainty, awareness, scary information, wow, intrusion. So I like the little emoji as well. So, I mean, our students also had just a whole range of words, different ones as well, from their age. But this was kind of something that we want. And we particularly picked this video because also, like, I actually really liked how when they talk about profiling, they gave a really positive example, right? About how, you're good at this, or you're unique about this, or you enjoy this, which was just a nice positive spin at it, especially for, this kind of audience. It wasn't something shameful or something bad about them. And it was just more proactive. And I also liked how it encompassed not just social media on the internet, but devices that we're using that are connected to data gathering. So that was our rationale for picking that particular video. We have one more Kahoot and we'll go back to the slides. So this is a true or false question. Technology can align with human values and still be exciting, enticing, and cool. So if you think true, then click on the blue diamond on your phone. And if you think false, then the red triangle. Okay, overwhelming true, because we are all teachers. So yes, our responses from the students as well were, I think, almost all true. There were maybe a couple of false in there, but I feel like there might have also been some facilitators that were just adding some answers in just for conversation's sake as well. But this is what we ran them through, and these were the 3 questions that they did in the Kahoot. And once they did that, we came back to the slides. And here's a quote from Swami related to specifically with technology. So, the astonishing power of science and technology has not brought with it corresponding powers of discrimination and wisdom. Man must realize that the sense organs through which he explores the external and discovers the powers latent in nature and the physical universe function because of the divinity which is immanent in them. Without the power of the divine, the eyes cannot see, the ears cannot hear, nor would the mind be able to think. So if we had to pause for a quick minute or two and just have a couple of you, talk about maybe what your thoughts are when you look at this, and what Swami has to say as far as science and technology and using the power of divinity to really use that and balance that. I'd love to hear some thoughts.
Well, I can say a few words. Like, I hear Swami is clearly mentioning, like, what our discrimination and wisdom, it is at such a higher level that none of our senses can even closely go near that power. And whatever we use with our senses, because it's limited to this world, and I think it has the potential to cover or cloud our discrimination if we don't use it properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the big thing, is using our discipline and our discrimination with our technology, right? So not everything necessarily is negative. Most things were not created with a negative intent in mind. But how do we leverage and how do we use our power of divinity and those eyes and ears and those powers that we have to actually harness what's positive about it and then make a difference? Anybody else want to share a thought that they have?
I think just going by what I've heard from Swami, he used to always tell that the eyes have been given a shutter as well as the mouth. Those two are the most powerful things. So somehow what you see remains in your subconscious for a long time. So you've got to be careful of what you watch. I think the mouth now is gone to your hand. So you have to be careful what you type.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Yes, absolutely. So. Awesome, thank you. And as you know, as we saw in the Kahoot as well, you know, all of that's really just from an awareness standpoint, because sometimes we're just so engulfed in it and so internalized that we don't stop to realize what's actually happening outside of that moment. So hopefully that built some awareness of some things that we might have to pause and think about and actually use our power of discipline and discrimination. So if I were to ask, I mean, the answer is kind of on the screen, but if anybody wanted to say on the picture on the right, what are those yellow barrels?
Guardrails.
Okay. And why do we have guardrails on the highway?
So you don't fall off the cliff.
Okay, so you don't fall off the cliff. Anybody else?
Like a warning?
A warning, yeah.
You kind of know the border, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know your parameters, right?
yes, and the limit.
And even if you make a slip, it does have the ability to protect you a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yep.
Yeah, cautioning us to be careful while driving or taking the turn.
Yeah, so perfect. So, you know, it's really built there to keep us on path, to bring us back, kind of give us a little bit of buffer if we do veer off. It's almost like that little GPS, right? That says you're off, you're off, you're off, you're off until you get back and figure it out. So it helps bring you back on track. So similarly, technology, again, has guardrails that are built in. So we just talked about how typically when technology is created, the intent is not to be, it's not negatively based or rooted. So a lot of it is our awareness and understanding what are these guardrails and how can we use that to our benefit to actually stay on course as we use this technology. So some of the things are, you know, really knowing what we're engaging with and why. So, you know, and these are again things that we discussed, you know, with the students. Obviously, we didn't do it in this lecture format. I'm kind of switching in and out of being facilitator and letting you know how we ran it. And so, you know, really just not just going with the crowd, not just falling into peer pressure, but starting to really think about if Swami was on your friends list, what would he think about your choices, positive or negative? So using that as a guardrail in real time. But also, you know, what about our family and our friends? So one of our facilitators actually really brought up a good point of really making sure that, especially with this age group, that they are aware that they have emotional supports within the family, within their teachers, because many of us, unfortunately, have actually dealt with some students in our SSC classes that have been bullied or been victims of different things on social media and have gone to an extreme because they didn't feel like they could share with family or friends or teachers to actually support them. So we actually did spend several minutes really trying to put this in there so that the students that attended know that there is a safe space for them to talk through what's happening with them. And that is one of the guardrails as well as they're using technology and engaging with their peers. And then again, you know, how do we actually use our power of discrimination to weed out things that maybe don't really align with our human values? So we may not have a choice to use certain technology, like we have to use Zoom for school, but is there a place that we can use our power of discrimination, certain maybe features that we don't engage in, and then also our discipline as far as our time and, you know, how do we actually limit our use so we're not falling into that whole trap. So there are lots of different guiding principles and guardrails that Swami has given us, especially with the human values, to bring us back on track. So that's kind of what we try to really engage in and cover in this particular slide. And we also wanted our students to keep all of this in mind as they go into the next piece, which is actually going to be the breakout rooms and the activity. So this was just kind of a basic that we gave them, just participating, using the chat window. There's really no right or wrong answer. It's a hands-on activity. And we did ask for them to choose one person that would present their group's discussion at the end. So I think, Manjulanti, we can do the breakout at this point.
Sure. Then I'll take some into the breakout room and leave some here.
Sure.
And how long do you want the breakout room for?
Maybe just like 15 minutes or so we can come back and have more time for Q&A and stuff.
So I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So have they moved in to the rooms?
Some have.
Okay.
Yeah. Only one person is yet to join in.
Okay.
Yeah, the others have gone in.
Okay.
And then you have some left here in the main room.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's start with a quick icebreaker. This may be familiar to some of you. We've used this activity before, but if we can just maybe quickly go around, share our name, our region, and either a sub-value or an adjective or something that you either are striving for or you stand by that starts with the first letter of your name. So some examples would be responsible Ramya from Region 9, or lately, I think my word has been resilient Ramya from Region 9. So I'll open it up to whoever wants to go in any particular order.
Sure, I can go first. Musical Manjula from Milwaukee.
Sairam, patient Preeti from Chicago North Suburb.
That's nice.
I can exchange with you, Preeti Akka.
Okay.
Sairam, this is Shalini from Columbus. Silent Shalini, I would say.
Okay.
Sairam, this is Smiley Sai Prasanna from Chicago Metro.
I love it.
Sairam, this is Sandhya, but I want to be silent, Sandhya. Too much noise going on.
Striving to be
Hey,
silent.
Sadhya, you cannot copy.
Sandhya,
No,
I can be shining.
Akka, you're already silent. I'm striving to be silent.
No. That was the whole punchline. I'm not.
There is so much noise in my head at this point. Manju knows.
All right. I cannot see if everybody had a chance to say anything, or Anisha.
Sairam, I'll say I'm ambitious Anisha from Region 5, the Milwaukee Center.
Great. All right, so this is, we did this, and I know obviously the students enjoyed it as well. So what we are going to do, our task here is, so you're on a new project development team at Snapchat, and don't worry if you don't know Snapchat, all of the teachers, the students were fine and they knew it. But let me move this out of the way, sorry, okay. So we were all recently notified of a situation where the users of Snapchat, our product, are really unhappy about the lack of regulation on our platform. So our users are feeling pretty unsafe about what they're posting and how those posts are then being used. Our CEO, Satya Sai Baba, wants to see immediate changes and will approve the project before it is launched. So today we are tasked with redesigning Snapchat. So we have a Snapchat 2.0 to help solve the issues of unregulated content. And our tools that we have, we are equipped with the knowledge of the human values and the power of discrimination and discipline. So let's spend a few minutes, our next few minutes in this room together, really talking about what is one feature that you will change or you might add to Snapchat in order to make our users more happy and to make sure that our CEO will approve of the project before it is launched. So I'll open it up. And some of you, so the students obviously were all familiar, and we did ask them before we moved on if they were familiar with, we had 3 different options we could choose from. And we did give our facilitators tools. So, but I'm not sure if everybody in this particular room is familiar with Snapchat or not, but if you are, feel free to go ahead. But if you don't know the Snapchat app, even just thinking about other social media apps that you've worked on or use, and what might be some features to really target unregulated content. So the biggest thing with Snapchat, just so everyone knows, is that students or users put something on there, and within a certain amount of time, it disappears, or so they think. However, you can still take a screenshot of it. Somebody can take a picture with their phone. So it truly doesn't actually go away. And then there's been a lot of cases of bullying and, even just like predators, things like that are happening as a result of that. So that's kind of the premise of Snapchat as an app in itself.
So, I mean, I think I would ask for the permission to not let anything be snapped, because there are certain sites you can't copy and paste, right? They won't let you do it. So something like that.
Okay, great. So some kind of feature that restricts that from happening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, like maybe add a filter which disables, which if you try to take a picture, it will be blurred or something. But then the screenshot is you can't, screenshot just takes a screenshot. But maybe if there is an inbuilt feature to even blur that if possible. Like I know if iPhone wants, if Apple wants, they can do it.
Yeah. And this is thinking that we don't have any limits, right? So so if the world was our oyster, what could we do? And yeah, some of those things could be gray screen, things like that. So yes,
Saidam, I think more scrutiny on who can join the Snapchat. So you just filter out who's entering in.
Yeah, absolutely. What about if you have you're someone that's really popular and you have a lot of followers, and so you have thousands of people on your friends list or whatever. How do you kind of work through that when you're posting something or trying to filter who sees what?
But don't you think you wouldn't want to pick this kind of media where you're more vulnerable? I think it's more on you than the asking the, you know that it's not safe. So why go there?
Yeah, sure. That's definitely one thought. Absolutely.
One thing, if it is so widely used, you said one person is so popular, and so if there are in that account more than 10 people, then the chat cannot be immediately posted, but it can be a few seconds delay where the person can have the option of deleting or changing the message before it's posted.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of stuff, once it's posted, is really
done.
But again, something like the superstar phenomenon would be there. If you're widely being followed, it's a good message, then maybe posting it gets you a wider access.
Yeah, so thinking about what you're posting, what circle of influence you have, right? So
I think if you're famous, you have more responsibility. I would say you need to use it cautiously and for the good use.
With power comes responsibility. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if there is already a feature, but if there is a feature where anybody in that Snapchat group can rate, if the content is offensive or not okay, then there is some kind of control on that group.
Yeah, so some way of actually ranking it and rating it, and then maybe subsequent posts or things.
Yeah.
Yeah, using analytics, do what Preeti was saying. Just make sure that it automatically stops all these kinds of bad things, bad language or whatever it is.
So what if you're not the person that's having the issue, because you're not the one posting it, but you're seeing this happening and you're kind of a silent viewer? Are there any features or things that you could build in that might help you help the situation?
If you can privately Snapchat that person and tell them that, I mean, I know Snapchat is not private, but I'm just saying, just
Yeah,
to
but I
that
mean,
channel.
we are redesigning it, so we could make it private.
Yeah, some way to Snapchat and say, hey, I'm looking out, be careful, or something like that. You know.
Yeah, like even any observer, like, in some of these some of the articles like newspapers and all, they have this report abuse button where anybody can click on it and mention like a 4 or 5 options. You can just check one, so that message will immediately be blurred, or be up for check and then only released, something like that.
So some way of, if you're viewing what's happening is inappropriate, that you have a way of either reaching out, being that guardrail for somebody else, being that support for somebody else, or reporting it up so someone else can do something.
Till it is clarified, it's okay.
And that would be a good feature. If anyone can complain or cross-check and report.
I don't know if this feature is already there. Obviously, I'm not familiar with with Snapchat, but if it was me, I would introduce the verification feature. It's just not letting any random people even get into Snapchat, first of all. If there is a smart way of, like, say how you have in your Amazon, it's a verified buyer or things like that. So something to verify the identity of the person, to make sure they don't have any criminal records or anything like that.
Yeah, great. So having a guardrail and a gatekeeper almost right away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think even the agreement before anybody joins this kind of a thing should be really clear, where if someone doesn't follow the rules that are set for this particular thing, hopefully we can have value-based agreement that we can put forward. So we have the liberty to knock off people who don't follow that and don't adhere to it. So that would be a good thing to have in the beginning.
I like the use of the word value-based agreement.
Like a background check kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens if say we have this feature where we can report up, or like tag somebody, or say, okay, this was not appropriate. I mean, what happens at that point if we had to dig deeper and create more layers of this feature?
Just like when you go give answers in a blog, it gets points, right? So if someone is doing bad, you give them negative points, and if they do something good, give positive points. The more positive people get, maybe we have to really provide incentives for that. The more negative they get, beyond a limit, they'll be off the platform. Something
so
like
if you
that.
spun it in kind of the language of human values, we could have like love points, right?
Yeah.
And then you either gain love points or you lose love points, and maybe that's how you also verify kind of the authenticity of who you are as a user.
That sounds good. Vice points and love points.
That would be nice. Love points, truth points, peace points.
Well, and most of the things were anyway hitting like or love or things like that, right? So kind of goes with the app.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what the kids really thought.
Yeah, we'll come to that. We have that for you.
And Anisha is being silent. She's the one Snapchat user, right? At least she is familiar with it.
Yeah.
Anisha is like, what am I doing with these old people?
It's actually interesting because some of the ideas that have been mentioned for like dream implication are actually already there, in terms of being able to report any post that's public or a caption like that. That's already a thing. But something that I was thinking of is that if a caption has certain malicious words, whether it be like, just for example, like ugly, or like words that are usually used for attacking people, that it could be immediately tagged. And then before you can even post it, like there would be a pop-up message like, oh, like maybe you don't want to use that word. And you're not able to post if you use words like that.
That's a great idea. It's actually, before it causes an impact, you are really controlling it.
Yep.
And it also probably makes you stop, as a user, makes you stop and think potentially a little bit, or reflect on on that. So it might actually leave kind of a subtle impact longer as well.
So if we design the Snapchat, we'd have no teenagers who want to bully on it anyway, because they'd be find it so boring.
That's true. Then the CEO will decide to just stop this app.
How many minutes do we have left in the breakout room, Auntie? Can't see it.
We have 55 seconds actually. So they'll be back
okay.
in a minute. They'll come back in a minute.
Perfect, good timing. And so at this point, we had the students kind of pick, one feature that they wanted to share, and who was going to share it. In this case, we're not we can do some of that when we come back, because Shreyas is actually leading his breakout room through a different app than Snapchat. So we'll go through which ones we went through with them, and then we'll share some of what they shared with us.
So Ramya, how many like these cases did you present?
So each breakout room got only one because of time, but we had 3 options that we could pick from. And so every facilitator was given the freedom to pick whichever one of the 3, with a combination of what they were comfortable with as well, and also what the students were comfortable with. So some facilitators said, hey, these are our 3 options, which one do you want to work on? Some of us just picked one ahead of time and said, this is our option, or is everybody familiar with it? Even if you don't have the app, you know about it enough to work on it, and we went with that. So in the end, we had a good selection. So
good. Nice idea to make people think about becoming a designer.
Like the other room is back with us.
Yeah. Ramya, can you like in the end just go over the other 2 options also? So just briefly.
Yes, I will. So is everybody back?
Yeah. And Ramya, if you can share the PowerPoint and everything with me, I'll put it on our Region 5 site too.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Okay, so just so everybody knows, so Shreyas, hopefully your breakout room was exciting and productive, and you came up with some interesting features.
Yeah, we had some very excited designers with a lot of different features, and we have a summary for you if you're ready for us.
Sure. I was not expecting one, but let's go. Let's hear it.
We have Gayatri ji, who is ready to give you guys a summary about what we discussed and what features we are going to implement in YouTube.
Oh, you did YouTube. Okay. So just so everybody knows, the way we did this is that we actually had 3 options that we had come up with. One was Instagram, and each one had its own little solution to solve. YouTube, because we did not want to just have social media things. So we thought, okay, let's pull in YouTube. And then YouTube's issue was just autoplay, unlimited usage, it just keeps going on, and never kind of stops unless you put a stop on it. And then Snapchat. And then facilitators had the freedom of picking one of them. So some facilitators gave their breakout room a choice of all 3, and they picked one. Some facilitators pre-decided what they wanted to have their breakout room work on, and just checked in to make sure all the students were familiar with the technology or the app that we were using. So in my breakout room today, we worked on Snapchat, and sounds like Shreyas' group worked on YouTube. So go for it.
Yes, Sairam Ramya. So in our breakout room, we are all taken the YouTube role as a YouTube designer. So frankly speaking, we were all so excited to be a YouTube designer, which we are not in the real life. And the task which we were given was to come up with the ideas which we would like to incorporate into the YouTube application, which will have a safe searching engine, to make it as a safe searching engine. So based on all our colleagues, so I'm a YouTube engineer, right? So I want to use the term as colleagues in our room. So based on the ideas of all the colleagues who gave us in our breakout room, we summarized into 2 points mainly. So one is the search engine should have an age filter. So irrespective of the person who is actually searching in a YouTube, they should have an age filter such that, the pop-ups which come, the videos which come based on your typing should be based on the age group. So we don't want unwanted videos to pop up before the search word is being typed. And the second thing which we came up was the YouTube application should have a time limit. Sometimes some videos might be 2 hours or 3 hours long. So we should have a task of having a time limit into the application, so that maybe strategically after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it should pop up like, no, you will have a break in the video, so that whoever is watching the video can take a break and come back and continue the video, such that we avoid the continuous watching into the videos. So these two ideas are which we wanted to implement as a YouTube engineer, if at all we get an opportunity.
Great, amazing, really nice. Does the group that was with me for Snapchat, does anybody want to share a couple of the features that we came up with?
Okay, Shalini, you want to do that?
I didn't make a note, but if I remember, so there was, I like the value-based points you would give. So if words like love and anything that would enhance a person's mental status, that would get love points, and the ones that would kind of make them feel bad would get the, what was the points called? Not love points.
I think we said love points and vice points.
Vice points. So then depending upon your love points, you're rated in the community. So kind of, right? And then Snapchat has this thing that where you quickly take a picture of somebody, even though it's disappearing fast. We were thinking of adding an option where it doesn't let you take a picture because there are certain sites that won't let you copy things, so that. And then what else did we talk about? I forget, Ramya, you have to prod me.
Yeah, no, I think there was, we talked about, the option of reporting things that we see, but then also if we're viewing the bullying or whatever happening, reaching out to the person that's the victim and letting that person know that, hey, we're here and we see what's happening and how can we help.
Yeah, and also the person who's posting, if we can reach from the back and tell them, hey, you're doing something wrong, think about it, kind of a thing, which is not visible to the other people. So that kind, and then
we talked about, I think, some guardrails and kind of set up in the very beginning. So before someone's even a user, they have to go through some kind of screening process and stuff like that. So great, awesome. So this is very similar to, how our students came up with some things as well. And so this was kind of their backdrop of presenting to Swami in the boardroom. This is the slide that they were seeing. So here's just a kind of, so this was, I had led my breakout room, had Snapchat back then too. So this is actually exactly what my group had come up with from the students' perspective. So some things are similar. So they did come up with some kind of karma score. With good karma and bad karma, and that would be part of like the whole reporting guidelines. And then also they talked a lot about, well, how do we make sure that someone just doesn't like inappropriately keep reporting somebody because they it's a fake reporting just because they don't like somebody. So if you over report and it's negative when they actually investigate it, you actually get a negative karma point for doing that. So it was nice to see them kind of talk through both ends of those of, yeah, we have this feature, but then now how do we not abuse it as well? So this was from the Instagram standpoint, and similar stuff that we heard about, like blocking reporting, losing privileges, the whole gray box when you take a screenshot. And this was, Shreyas had led Instagram back then. So this was what his group of students had come up with. Shreyas, do you want to talk to this real quick?
Yeah, so this was a fun thing. This is a Google Drawing actually, which allows collaborative note taking and everything. So I had 5 kids in my group, and all of them were putting all of these different comments at the same time, which really reduced the time of discussion. Because otherwise one person is discussing, other people are just listening. So if you feel like this is useful in your class, you can use this. It's very powerful for me. And then what I gave them was I gave them each. So if you see this red box, I gave them each 2 boxes. And so from all the features that we were discussing, they were going to pick 2 that were the most important for them. And so you see there's majority boxes around this one, which for Instagram, it was, okay, so when somebody is texting harshly, then the Instagram app would automatically pop up a warning screen to the bully saying, "Hey, do not do this more." So everybody loved that idea. And then there was other boxes on other features. So basically, from here they picked what features they wanted, just like we did right now. And then they were also suggesting what aligned with Swami's values and why we are suggesting it. So they talked about how the bullies also need help, because in many cases they have the reason they're bullying is it's a call for help, and a lot of people just say no, bullies are bad or whatever, but actually we should go help them as well. And then there was something about filters, and there was something about thinking before you act for the bully, so the warning messages. And then a lot of people felt that the social media is a platform where you can be free, where there's a no judgment zone kind of thing. So they felt that putting too many restrictions on it takes away that freedom from social media. So they wanted to have at least some freedom inside social media to where people can express themselves, and it was not really all that bad to put all that content out on Instagram and other things. So
Great. Geeta, did you have anything to share from your breakout rooms during the retreat and your experience facilitating?
Not really. I mean, it's almost a similar things as what you guys are saying. My group did Instagram. So I mean, I feel like it's practically the same thing. I know like one of the kids did talk about bullying and how like when you put something up, you think even if you delete it, someone can screenshot it. And like now, I guess like on Apple phones, they have like the video recording option. So so even though you may think that something you posted is gone, you like there is a chance that someone else could have the same thing that you have taken off.
Gotcha.
But that's really it, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So once they presented, so we were simultaneously sending our notes to one of our facilitators that was kind of creating the summary. And these were kind of our closing points, so to speak, that we wanted to make sure we brought all that content back to. So the points we really wanted to make sure our students got was, the whole concept of constant integrated awareness and what would Swami do? So if we constantly had Swami with us, Swami walking with us, Swami's our friend and all of that, how would that change our interactions with technology? So would that just change, how we posted something or what we said or what kind of words we used? Or if we had an emotional response to something, how would we actually respond if Swami was watching us, or if we constantly thought about WWSD? And again, the whole concept of moderation and discipline. So how do we just put a ceiling on our time spent, prioritizing our usage, again, because right now it's really hard to say don't use it. So how do we actually moderate that? We spent some time talking about reflection, reaction, resound. So how do we pause for a few seconds before we hit send, think about it, and then really being intentional in our choices. So every social media, everything with technology has some kind of algorithm built in, right? So what you get, what you see on your feed and your post is usually a reflection of what you've been looking at. Even on YouTube, like based on what you're viewing, they'll give you options of other videos, for example. So can we actually trick that algorithm by putting out or being more intentional of what we're choosing to watch, choosing to like, and can that be more positive? Can that be more based in our human values so that what we receive back in that technological medium follows and aligns with those same things? So that whole concept of reflection, reaction, and resound. And then thinking about, again, what is our online brand and our online personality, similar to a little bit of what Group 3 did. How do we actually bring that back to what Swami says, who we really are? So aligning who others think we are, who we think we are, and then who we truly And how does that become actually what we're putting out there? And that is actually our responsibility to create or facilitate or change what we want that online brand to be. So this was our take-home activity that we gave the students. And this might be something, if your students did attend the retreat, you can ask them about in your classes. So we said, the whole retreat theme was, related to silence, silence to silence. So we said, using that silence, spend the next 24 hours really just looking at what are your social media posts, what are your texts, what kind of things are you looking at online, and does that align with the 5 human values? Is there anything maybe you could change? And if Swami had access to your phone or he was on your friends list, what would he say about the things that you did in the last 24 hours? So that's what we left them with from a reflection standpoint. And then Shalini, here's Shalini, this is what you had said, with great power comes great responsibility. So really just, stop, think, and click. You don't have to stop using technology, but how can we, again, be more disciplined, use our power of discrimination, be more aware of what's out there and use that so that we are actually making a difference and we are actually doing something more productive about it. So that was really kind of our nutshell of our presentation, and we can open it up to questions and all of that. We did, as a planning team, and we went over this a little bit quickly with the students, but I don't think it was effective in the time, so it might be something for future classes. We talked a lot on the planning end of, a lot of this comes down to time management and all of that stuff too, right? So we had some examples of, are there, again, things within technology that can be used to be productive? So how can we be our own judge of technology? How can we use our phone to have an alarm or prioritize, or things like that? And this was something that one of the teachers had used in their class before, of just kind of a positive, negative points kind of system related to their actions that they're doing for a self-reflection. So these are, again, I left these in here as tools, for the teachers if you want to use something or bring it up in discussion. But we did not have a ton of time to actually go into this in the most effective manner. So I will stop sharing this so we can open it up for questions or comments or thoughts or anything.
Yeah, I really like your last slide with all the different questions. Each of them seriously could become a full lesson by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we teachers are all thinking of lessons, huh? Yeah,
absolutely.
Same here. Yeah, because tomorrow, incidentally, I was planning to do, my lesson plan is about patience, and I was trying to kind of connect technology and patience for my group 3. So this couldn't have come at a better time. I just loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I think, I feel like our students, Shreyas and Geeta, feel free to chime in. I feel like the students really engaged as well, within it, and at least, and I know there was a little bit of like, but that already exists, or like, oh, that's silly, or that, but they actually, once we got past that and we asked them some of these questions, and as facilitators, we all had, we gave all the facilitators both a bunch, and Manjula Auntie, I'll make sure to send those to you as well, our guide, because we gave facilitators different websites with articles about the different apps, the features on there, the pros and cons, real situations that have happened. So I think they were also, I hope, felt pretty equipped. And also we gave them some features and things that we had come up with on the content end in case there was like dead silence, which I don't think we really experienced. But the feedback, the sharing that happened at the end in those presentations was really rich, I feel like. And actually many of us were like, we should have written all this down and sent it to the actual app companies, because many of them would actually are doable. So
very well designed, Ramya. I really liked your thought process of bringing Swami and helping the kids to think. If Swami peeps into your phone, will he appreciate this kind of your texting or the words that you use? That really helps them to think and put them in the right path. And this 1 hour session is not sufficient enough for people like me who is not tech savvy to go through into and use this in this class for the kids to help them see the process. So I think you should give some more training session to us. Maybe as you said, you have so much of material to share, so which will help us to go into those details and get more insights into what this technology is and how it is affecting the kids in a negative way, and help them to bring back to the positive line, and help them practice Swami's values day in and day out. I really loved the way you have designed fully, and yeah, a lot of I see. I think tech savvy people only can do this wonders, I guess. So yeah, good luck, and thank you so much for sharing it.
So actually, Sister Jaya, we are planning, I mean, after the Unity Conference got over, so region 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10, we're kind of planning more tech-based workshops. So we do have Sister Nirmala, Sister Shalini, Ramya, and Anisha, along with some others who are planning. And in fact, they're going to have a first one. What was it? I think January 9th was the date we had tentatively put down. In the morning, first you'll have a session for the children, and then in the afternoon, there's going to be a session for the adults, the teachers and the parents. So this is like a work in progress.
Okay, good. Yeah, sounds good.
And I mean, definitely the content, I mean, we struggled too. I mean, this is probably like an hour and a half, you know, type of thing. But like just that one slide on the guardrails could be a whole class, right? So it was definitely challenging to how do we bring it all in and not be lectury and still get to the crux and get to the point. So if I was to do this for my class, I think literally every slide would be a class of its own.
And actually, the questions, yeah, go ahead, Gayatri.
Sorry. I agree with Manjudi. Actually, you know what? The current generation, because of this pandemic, it became more usage of this technology, right? So normally a general notation, when we hear to the song or a bhajan repeatedly, it goes deep dive into our mind, right? Similarly, if we can use these tech workshops more repetitively to the children, I know it sounds boring, but definitely this is a valid point which they can actually intake into their brains, and nothing wrong in repetitively using this, sharing these workshops with children. There's a very fantastic idea, Ramya and Shreyas. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just one correction, Gayatri. We should stop saying boring, because so much of values is being given in this slides. And in 1 hour, I don't think we can capture, the kids can capture all the values or all the thoughts that are being put in. So repeatedly when we do, each time they may take away a new thing, and that will help them to get it. So we shouldn't say that it's, oh, we already did it, it's boring. We should stop saying that and say, now we will see it from a different angle. Every week, we will see it from a different approach. If we can tell the kids like that they also will come up with that open mind and they can see it more positively.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because these are very, very valuable workshops. I feel very, very wonderful content and very important content, not only for the young generation, in fact, to all the people, I say, I loved it.
Yeah, a lot of effort has gone in, and a lot of thinking has gone. It's a highly mature thought that of bringing Swami's, like helping the kids to think. That sowing the seed of thinking is taken place here. And it's done well, wonderfully. Driven by divinity, I can see it here.
You're right, Jaya. In fact, Ramya had so much content in her slides. So I remember the first time she presented it, and even I think in the dry run, and we were like, okay, you really have to cut it down. So I think in the end of the day, what she had and what really went along to the students was probably what, about 25% of what you had initially, Ramya? We were like, 1 hour, no, you can't do all this, keep it. You just have to chop it off. That's really one thing they take out from there.
Yeah, maybe we can make a couple more from the already existing content and design differently and make it more interesting. Like, let the people not feel that it is repeatedly shown again and again. And so that variety can be brought in from her content if she has that. So,
sure.
Good job, Ramya.
Yeah, we'll certainly do that.
Teamwork. I'm just the face behind it right now.
So thank you so much, Ramya.